The U.S. trade war, far from being a simple, fleeting event, has evolved into a deeply powerful and profoundly transformative force within the global economy. It has not simply caused temporary disruptions, rather, its most lasting and significant effect has been to compel a fundamental and sweeping reassessment of how international business is conducted at its very core. Welcome viewers to my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe, like my video and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next update. This is not merely a matter of a few temporary tariffs. It is a powerful catalyst that is actively and dramatically redrawing the global map of commerce. It is forcing a significant and costly re-engineering of established, decades-old global supply chains that were once thought to be inviolable. This dramatic and rapid shift has created a paradoxical, two-sided coin. While countless companies across the globe have been plunged into chaos and financial distress, others, like Launchpad Co-Pack, are finding themselves in an unprecedented and unexpected era of extraordinary opportunity, reaping benefits from the very instability that is harming so many others. Launchpad Co-Pack, a specialized beverage bottling and canning facility nestled in Collingwood, Ontario, serves as a compelling and vivid case study. It is a perfect example of a company that has successfully navigated the turbulent waters created by the trade war. Prior to this international upheaval, the company was a regional player, content to specialize in niche, small batch products for a discerning and specific clientele, think artisanal, organic teas, bespoke craft liquors, and gourmet, boutique fruit juices. However, the trade war has acted as a powerful engine, completely and irreversibly transforming its entire business model. According to CEO Scott Morrison, the company's client base has not just grown, but has expanded exponentially, with inquiries now pouring in from a wide and diverse spectrum of U.S. businesses, including major multinational corporations with vast resources and global reach. These companies, driven by the acute economic and political instability south of the border, are proactively and urgently seeking a more reliable and politically stable production partner. They are no longer viewing a Canadian production base as a minor, long-term strategic consideration but as a critical and immediate necessity for their very survival and continued growth in a rapidly changing global landscape. The profound financial and emotional toll on Ontario. The remarkable success story of Launchpad, while inspiring, must be viewed within the larger and more complex context of the significant economic challenges that continue to confront the province of Ontario. The province's economy is not merely linked to that of the United States, it is deeply and inextricably intertwined, a relationship that has been built over decades of close cooperation. A staggering 77% of Ontario's international goods exports and 60% of its services exports are directed to the U.S. This high degree of economic integration makes Ontario exceptionally vulnerable to any economic turbulence, no matter how minor, that originates from its largest and most critical trading partner. Jeffrey Novak, the Financial Accountability Officer for the Legislative Assembly of Ontario, has repeatedly and emphatically highlighted this deep-seated vulnerability. He has issued stark warnings that the continued imposition of tariffs could very well plunge the province into a modest recession. His team's detailed economic analysis paints a sobering and concerning picture: a potential reduction of more than 50% in GDP growth and a devastating potential loss of between 69,000 and 190,000 jobs throughout the province. This immense economic pain is further compounded by the severely limited ability of the Canadian government to retaliate effectively without causing even more harm to its own industries, which are so reliant on the cross-border flow of goods and services. Beyond the stark, purely economic numbers, the trade war has also ignited a deep-seated emotional response among many Ontarians. Scott Morrison describes a pervasive and palpable feeling of betrayal, a painful sentiment that a long-standing, mutually beneficial, and trusted partnership has been carelessly and unilaterally put in jeopardy. This emotional undercurrent, combined with the strategic business imperative to mitigate risk, is fueling a powerful movement for Canadian companies to reshore their production. Firms that had previously outsourced their manufacturing and production to facilities in the U.S. are now choosing to bring that work back home to Canada. This significant influx of new business could see Launchpad's production rates double or even triple from the previous year. To keep pace with this surging demand, the company has not only invested heavily in new, state-of-the-art equipment to expand its capacity but is also actively considering the hiring of additional staff to meet the escalating workload. Morrison firmly believes that these recent shifts are not just a temporary consequence of the trade war, but a permanent and fundamental change in the economic landscape. He has made it a point to directly ask his new clients if they would return to their U.S. suppliers should the tariffs be suddenly and completely lifted. The consistent and unequivocal response he has received is that the political and economic instability they have recently experienced has made a production base in Canada a core, long-term, and essential component of their business strategy. The trade war, it seems, has not merely caused a temporary disruption in supply chains but has permanently and fundamentally reoriented the entire supply chain map of North America, ushering in a new era where reliability, predictability, and political stability are paramount business considerations. The era of blind reliance on the U.S. is over, a new age of strategic diversification and risk mitigation has begun. A global economic earthquake. The U.S. trade war's far-reaching impact. The U.S. trade war, rather than being a minor, isolated skirmish, has triggered a global economic earthquake, its seismic waves rippling across continents and forcing a fundamental reevaluation of long-held business principles. It has acted as a profound and transformative force, compelling companies worldwide to confront the vulnerabilities of their decades-old supply chains. This is not a matter of short-term adjustments or temporary inconveniences, it is a dramatic and irreversible redrawing of the global commercial map, a powerful catalyst for a new era of risk management. The trade war has created a paradoxical duality. While many multinational corporations have been thrown into chaos and financial peril, others, such as Launchpad Co-Pack, have found themselves in a unique position of unprecedented growth and opportunity. Launchpad, a specialized beverage facility in Collingwood, Ontario, stands as a vivid testament to this new reality. Before the trade war, it was a content regional player, serving a niche market of artisanal, organic teas and craft liquors. However, the escalating trade tensions south of the border have acted as a powerful engine, completely reshaping its business model. According to CEO Scott Morrison, the company's client base has not just grown, but has expanded exponentially, with inquiries now flooding in from a wide array of major U.S. corporations. These firms, desperate to escape the political and economic instability of their home country, are urgently seeking a stable and reliable production partner. A Canadian production base is no longer a strategic afterthought, it has become an immediate and critical necessity for their survival. The financial and emotional fallout in Ontario. Launchpad's success, while remarkable, must be understood within the broader context of the economic challenges facing Ontario. The province's economy is not just linked to the United States, it is an intricately woven tapestry, with a staggering 77% of its goods exports and 60% of its services exports destined for its southern neighbor. This deep integration makes Ontario exceptionally vulnerable to any economic turmoil emanating from the U.S. Jeffrey Novak, the Financial Accountability Officer for the Legislative Assembly of Ontario, has repeatedly sounded the alarm, warning that continued tariffs could plunge the province into a modest recession. His team's analysis paints a sobering picture of a potential 50% reduction in GDP growth and a loss of between 69,000 and 190,000 jobs. This economic pain is compounded by the Canadian government's limited ability to retaliate without inflicting further harm on its own industries, which are so dependent on cross-border trade. Beyond the numbers, the trade war has ignited a deep sense of betrayal among many Ontarians, as described by Scott Morrison. This powerful emotional undercurrent, combined with the strategic imperative to mitigate risk, is fueling a significant movement for Canadian companies to reshore their production. Firms that had previously outsourced manufacturing to the U.S. are now bringing that work back home. This influx of new business could see Launchpad's production rates double or triple, prompting the company to invest heavily in new equipment and consider hiring additional staff. Morrison believes these shifts are not temporary but a permanent change in the economic landscape. He has directly asked new clients if they would return to U.S. suppliers if tariffs were lifted, and the consistent answer is no. The instability they've experienced has made a Canadian production base a permanent part of their long-term strategy. The trade war has fundamentally and permanently reoriented the North American supply chain, prioritizing reliability and stability over all else. The era of blind reliance on the U.S. is over, a new age of strategic diversification and risk mitigation has begun. The U.S. trade war, a permanent reshaping of the global